seconds of what they're up to.
Yeah.
Or I guess you get the other person.
No. It's you fucking with them because
would
if you
mess
call
with them
them
by
they
giving
see
them
you.
2 seconds. So they have no choice but to see what you force upon them.
It's going to be a new way to flash your penis to a lot of people.
It's pretty much it. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it's the new. What was that?
Streaming
Chat roulette.
Yeah,
chat roulette. Yeah.
Wasn't that like a Russian kid's like college? He wrote that as like part of his college thesis. His
To make up chat roulette
doctorates or something. Yeah, he made that up just to like graduate. It's like part of his.
It took off. I remember using it a couple of times just to see what was out there. And yeah, I would say 75% penis. That's about what you come down to.
Yeah,
That's the rough metric.
Not the whole shaft.
Skip.
Just 75% of it.
I would say that metric probably applies to the internet.
Well, there's the
and
internet.
it's probably
that's
just
true.
flat across the internet. 75% penis.
Well, then you got the inner shaft. Too.
Yeah, that's right.
You got the inner shaft.
We're going to need an exploding view.
when you do this, you're going.
We have live graphics.
Are we live right now?
Does anybody,
Oh, wow.
does anybody have a laser pointer we could use?
I have a feeling this is going to be the show I have to edit the most of any we've ever done.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly podcast where we gather a roundtable of experts to talk about the tech topics of the day or the new chat roulette that we're anticipating, and a bunch of different things. We're going to cover some Google I/O news, and we want to hear what you guys think, like what your thoughts are. Give us your comments. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, go ahead and pop those in there, and I'll follow along, and we'll get to some of those questions. If you're listening via podcast, you can always email us, podcast@digitaltrends.com. I'm your host, Greg Nibbler. Let's just go around the room here really quick and see what we've got. It's already off the rails.
I guarantee you I'm going to be crying by the end of this podcast.
Well, we may have some tears.
Done deal.
There may be shirtless people. We don't know what's going to happen today. To my right,
Chris Regis.
and Chris. What can you tell us about your company really quick?
I'm with a company called Green Century Recycling.
Okay.
So we refurbish electronics and then recycle and destroy data.
Awesome. All right, and we've got.
Ezra Samino Hurt with Case of Base.
And if you follow DT, you've probably seen Ezra's video, which I think has been viewed about 7 million times now on Facebook. It's been viewed a lot.
Which
Wait,
what video?
there's
what
a-
are you talking about?
There's something on there. But we're going to talk about Ezra's company.
Probably not.
We're going to talk about Ezra's company here in just a minute, and then on the end we've got
Caleb Dennison.
Caleb Dennison, always here.
Yeah. I feel like that's important. I wasn't here last year.
Oh, that's true. You weren't here last week. That's true.
That was a fun show, though. I listened to that.
It was pretty good.
Good stuff.
It was interesting. All right, so so Ezra and Chris are here, kind of filling in or stopping by the show today. And Ezra, so Case of Base, wanted to talk about this. Like,
Go on.
It's actually I want you
Tell
to
me
talk
more.
about it.
Go on.
And explain to anyone who doesn't know what this is. It's really, really cool. This company that you've created and this product. Like, how did it start?
Well, I wanted a boombox. I didn't want to buy one, so I started building them. And really, the core is a boombox housed in a vintage suitcase, but it's kind of grown to a lot more than that. You know, it's the bread and butter. The widget is the vintage suitcase boombox, so it's like multiple aesthetics that you really enjoy, it's style and finesse and good sound. But the goal really is to just kind of create interesting, one-of-a-kind sculptures that function and you can use like in your life.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it really did just come from you wanted a boombox and then decided to make one that was cool.
There wasn't something in the world that filled the niche that I wanted, so I filled it.
What did you do before this? Before that? Or can we talk about that on the show?
you know,
He's an
Is this
alligator
something
wrestler.
I'll just like have to
Exactly.
bleep
He
out?
wrestled gators. You can tell by looking.
It's
No,
true.
it's-
I could believe that.
You know, I've been a builder and remodeling carpenter. I've been, I've got a degree in film school, so I've worked in camera department, worked in, many different like art fields, and then, I've been a cook. I've been, it's just.
You've been all over the place.
Yeah, it's like jack of many, master of none. It's
Close enough.
yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
I've kind of,
Well said, sir.
assistant whatnot. That's
Okay.
the official title. Yeah.
That's a good title. Yeah. And so you came up with this and you made one, and I'm assuming you showed it to different people.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was like, okay, what the hell is that? And I want one.
Yeah, they were just that first one you set out and you step back and you go, oh, we're onto something. Like this is too good not to share. And then there was 5, and then it was like, destroy those. That's horrible. And then it was probably like 3 months before we had anything worth even, talking about. But the visual element, the driving element of the concept, was so strong that, and really it took 3 years to get something that I was even proud of.
Yeah.
And we've like 5.5 years now, and like the product is strong, the design is strong, the process to make it all and support it all is there. Like we're just really hitting a stride.
You had to bootstrap it hardcore though, because I mean, you started this before Kickstarter and Indiegogo was like the go-to, like give me funds, and it's almost a guarantee now. If you have something that looks cool enough, whether you and this is part of the big problem with crowdfunding, whether you can actually pull it off or not, it's immaterial. These people are so enraptured by the dream of having that thing that they see that they just throw their money out there. Like, how did you pull this off in the middle of a recession? Like, when like money was hard to come by anyway, without the aid of crowdfunding, being such a big deal.
This guy right here. So in fact, the reason why I was able to do so much is Green Century Electronics Recycling has, 15,000 square feet of people's e-waste. And when we had the initial idea, my younger brother and I saw Chris and we're like, we want to do this. And he's like, go dig. And it was like diving into the, Star Wars garbage heap, pulling out like, oh, there's this and oh, there's some speakers. And, you take a load of stuff back to the garage and desolder a bunch of things. And it was like,
wow,
tons and tons of sweat. Like, and the quality wasn't as good, but it enabled us to figure out what the next step would be without, throwing a bunch of money down the toilet. And so
think about that evolution from starting with like a sealed lead acid battery that weighed a good 10 pounds each.
They were horrible.
And then the evolution to like lithium ion and NiCad batteries. And there was so much going on too. Everything just being pulled from recycled scrap, re-engineered, engineered again, and then stuffed into a suitcase that was 30 years old. And I remember the first one that came through, that Korean Samsonite that probably weighed 30 pounds.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, the giant monster thing with eyeballs on it that ended up.
Yeah, and I think that was the product of a good week of, days of searching, hunting, and then building. But when it finally came out, it worked.
Oh my God, when it
Pretty
worked.
good. It was pretty good victory.
I know. I like some of the ones. I have a few friends that have some of the originals, and I'm like, let me upgrade that for you, please. And they just say, they're like, no, this is a little piece of history. It's like the original like Lisa Mac. You're like, I'm sure like, they don't use it, but it's it's the story. It's like, oh look, there's 5 years ago. Wow, look at that.
Speaking of. So I occasionally get to stay in pretty posh hotels in New York, filling out for breast junkets or whatever. And I was just out there, and I can't remember the name of the hotel. It's probably best that I not say the name. But one of their things, I'll show you online. When you go and you look at the pictures online, Rich, our video producer, was there as well. When you look at the pictures online, you can see that they have a Bluetooth speaker that's made of drivers in like a little suitcase thing.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, look at that. So we get there and I check it out and I can't remember the brand name. I'll pull it up later.
No big deal.
But like I was like, this is such a copycat effort. I was like, I wonder how it sounds. Well, I'll figure out later. Anyway, I waited for a while and then Rich was like, have you listened to it yet? And I was like, no, not yet. He's like, you should. And I just kind of left it at that. I went back and I listened to it, and it sounded like shit. It sounded terrible. And it's like there's somebody who like saw a good idea, decided they wanted to get into it, but they didn't really take the time to figure it out. And yet somehow they got a whole bunch of them into some freaking hotel that's like they're kind of trying to pull off the Doug Fir vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But in a big high-rise type hotel type of situation.
The boutique hotel model is really huge right now. And, the concept, again, once it's out there, there's probably 35 or 40 other companies doing similar things. But the execution, like from the outside, it looks the same. But to actually pull off that execution in a way that performs it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I invite people every day. I'm like, no, go ahead, try this, because the learning curve is steep and unforgiving. And if you actually like last and stand by your product, and every single time something goes wrong, you go, no, let me pay to have it shipped back, repair it. You would go insane building an inferior thing because It's so important that quality of like when something arrives at someone's house, I just imagine that it's me opening that box. And would I be stoked or would I go, fucking internet?
I think there is something to be said, though, about yours compared to other people. Like, I had sent you a picture a couple months ago, and I was at a local shop here, and they had one sitting on the counter. We were there for a while, so I just was being critical of it.
Yeah.
But yours are trimmed out in a much finer attention to detail.
Oh, yeah.
The inside even, like this one was not even locked up. You could get on the inside and see wire management and cable management. I didn't listen to it. The place at the store was not listening to it.
Right.
You can only assume they weren't listening to it because it probably was distorting. So there was like that attention to detail on each individual case. And not to mention, I've known you for, 18 years, 20 years, somewhere around there. And you've always been the kind of person that could take a bunch of Lincoln logs and maple syrup and build something pretty that people thought you intended to make it that way.
Yeah, just failing forward.
Yeah, just the artistic sight to take something different and make it.
And I think that's a testament to, like, back to the Kickstarter thing, that there's so many products out there that people just throw something up and then they're instantly getting funded. To actually take the time to make something quality that's going to last, so you don't have all these, failed Kickstarters or people just running off with money. Like, it takes time to build something really good.
Absolutely.
And that's a testament to what you've done. So the website's caseofbass.com, right? For anybody who wants to go on there right now.
And that's bass, like BASS.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Case of bass.
Case of bass.
The bass.
Case of bass.
Indeed.
A lot of delicious smallmouth bass.
Yes. Oh, I still love that one. That is a good one. Well, let's go on and talk about something. Actually, talking about music, I wanted to bring this up. So we haven't talked about streaming music services on here for a little while, but this is actually one that I feel like was rushed out to try to capitalize on all the different streaming music services, and that's Tidal. And there's an article on Digital Trends right now just talking about why Tidal is doomed to fail. That's actually the title of the article. And I just got done with my month of trying it, and I can tell you it is not that great. So it's not user-friendly.
And why not? For you, what was bad about it?
For me, I mean, their discovery service, where they would, like a radio station service that they have on there, was really clunky. It didn't work for me. I didn't like it. Even the searching on there compared to Spotify or... I mean, in Pandora, I'll use sometimes just for radio stations, but Spotify, I really like how you can, just the functionality. Tidal was really clunky.
Were you having trouble finding the songs you wanted to listen to?
Exactly.
So you had a specific song in mind. You're like, blah,
specifically,
blah, blah.
I logged on just after Prince died, so I was like, well, they're the only ones with Prince, so I want to listen to some Prince. And so I logged on there, and even that, finding Prince on there, it was so clunky. It would bring up different things that you didn't want and then try to spin you off into other stuff. I'm like, no, I just want this album. Just pull up this album. And I just canceled it. I'm not a fan.
Is Tidal the one owned by the artist?
It's by Jay-Z.
By Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Yeah. And their whole thing is like the hi-fi audio, which I didn't even subscribe to that, which doesn't matter to me that much for this, just because I was just listening on my phone.
Yeah.
So it didn't really appeal to me on that end. But I don't know, Caleb, you have had a thought on this, I thought, about
Well,
Tidal,
yeah, I mean...
we talked about this a long time ago.
Parker, the author, and I kind of hatched this idea. It kind of stemmed out of me being just tired about writing about Tidal. Like, every other day, it was another executive fired, like another failure, another botched album release. I mean, they're a calamity. And the thing was, I felt like the only reason that we were covering them wasn't because that they were an especially a force of good for the whole streaming music industry, even though they said they wanted to be and they were trying to be. And that was their whole premise, right? Artist controlled, better pay for the artists, better royalties, what we should be getting, and we'll control it. So it'll be up to us.
Right.
And, and that's why the motivation to have all these exclusive releases, like you can only get this on Tidal. At least that was the plan. But then it just started falling apart because people realized that unless you get your stuff up on Apple Music and or Spotify, you'll never get your nut. Like if you need to get, let's just say, $10,000, you're going to have to get, you'll need fewer plays from Tidal to get to $10,000, but it will take you forever to get that many plays. Whereas with Spotify and Apple, it's like zip, 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 done. You just made your nut, and we're going to start making you some more. Spotify doesn't pay enough in terms of royalties, I don't think. But they're also just now trying to make streaming music model sustainable. And anyway, going back to Tidal, yeah, I think that the high audio quality is a definite draw for a certain
Right.
subset of people, and that's cool. But that's just one facet. Like if you don't nail all the other stuff, like you said, the user experience, the search, the discovery, and you don't make it easy to use across all your devices, and you can't, you got to be able to stream it on your Sonos and your Play-Fi,
Right.
whatever. Like if you don't nail all those parts down, then you're going to get eaten up. And the thing is, it's not as if we're celebrating Tidal's failure with this article. I'm trying to make that really that point very clear. It's just that we're going to kind of back up off of our editorial coverage of Tidal because just because Jay-Z did this or Kanye screwed up that or Beyonce, I mean, for crying out loud, all the allegations for the, can we get back to the music?
Yeah.
Can we just get back to it being about music and loving music and sharing music? That's what I need. I mean, I hate Apple Music. I'm sorry, Apple. I do. I hate the product. I don't like what it's become.
Right.
It doesn't work. I quit Apple Music and one other service they had, and now there's no music on my phone. There's no music on my phone. I keep pressing the cloud thing, and I can't get the music on my phone. It's driving me nuts. I mean, they're driving me to Spotify.
I feel like you should throw something across the room right now.
I probably
Besides that point.
Well, you know how Caleb hates everything, man. That's
so-
we're renaming the show.
Is like Tidal is the problem that it doesn't have the user base, the architecture. Like, is it all of that?
It's all of it. It's the
Yeah.
whole package. They're just not. I mean, also, I think it could be argued that they don't have the best business minds involved, and unfortunately, sometimes artists aren't good business people. That's why they hire business people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's going on with the revolving door of executives, but they've fired like 4 people just in the last 2 months, and these are high level people who've worked at really successful companies and succeeded there, but
Right.
for whatever reason they failed at Tidal. I mean, to just take a look at that. Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably not them.
So how much longer do you think it's going to be around?
Well, depends on how much money the artists are willing to dump into it. But when you have Beyonce and Kanye, these are huge releases. Broke their word that they were going to keep them exclusive on Tidal.
Yeah, that was quick.
ended up
Beyonce
talking
did
about-
HBO, right? She ended up releasing that HBO exclusively.
Which was smart. I mean, Beyonce did a great job. The whole Lemonade thing has definitely captured the attention. It kind of juiced her up again.
Yeah.
Not
Got
like
some
she
buzz.
needed a ton of juicing. I mean, she's always been
Right.
super
I was
hot.
going to say,
but-
there's not many artists that could pull that off.
yeah,
That's-
but then they kind of broke their word about staying exclusive to Tidal and then spread it out to other places.
Yeah.
How do you even do that? How does a contract not come into play that restricts that?
that
from
may have been
happening?
an FU to Jay-Z, though.
Well, I'm sure it could be, but I mean, it's still somebody's running, and isn't that the problem? It's like the family business. It's a
Yeah.
dysfunctional family business,
Right.
and as long as the family can't get it right, then the business itself will never be right.
And maybe it was just purely ignoring the contractual agreement with Tidal. And
Yeah.
the decision to go make a bigger audience at HBO was a conscious one, and then
Right.
pay
Well,
what
the
do you do?
retributions
We're gonna
to
sue you,
Tidal.
Beyonce.
Suffer
Like,
the consequence.
go
Yeah,
for it.
Sue
exactly.
your wife,
Go for it. I made enough off of Spotify yesterday to pay for the legal proceedings.
Yeah.
So
Exactly,
Go
yeah.
right
I mean,
ahead.
how much of this could be like feeding the controversy machine, though? Because like we're talking about it, so
Yeah.
how many people would hear about it and be like, "Well, what is this all about?" Like getting users there, whether
The any press is good press.
Yeah,
theory.
exactly. Like
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a really good point. We said what we said because, editorially, we want to follow streaming music services, how they're doing, what's changing about them, who's getting the good deals, where the artists are going, and really, when it comes down to it, we're about our readers and making tech work for them and improve their life. We don't feel like Tidal is going to improve their life.
there you go.
I do think Spotify offers a better and better and better product. And so, if you're going to come to me as an expert or Parker or Ryan or any number of us and say, if you could only subscribe to one streaming service, what would it be?
Spotify.
It would also be
Spotify,
Spotify for me
Yeah.
too.
That's
I think
what it is
others
for
might
me.
say Apple Music, and that's cool, but I don't think any of them would say, "Oh, gotta have Tidal. It's Tidal or nothing."
Yeah.
Right.
So
Who
what's
says
the
that?
what's the difference in
Jay-Z.
audio quality? Yeah, well, Beyonce didn't though. So what's the difference in audio quality between Tidal, Spotify, and Apple? If Tidal seems like they're marketing themselves as the hi-fi
Lossless.
audio,
It's not lossless. It's CD quality.
Yeah.
They are working towards something that would be like truly high res. But CD quality is definitely audibly better than Spotify's best, for
Yeah.
instance, which is 320 kilobits per second MP3.
Right.
And you gotta care an awful lot about. I'm an audiophile. I test speakers and audio gear day after day after day. I have headphones in my ears like 5 hours per day. I'm listening to music all day.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm listening to? 320 kbps
Yeah.
Spotify all day long through good headphones and a good headphone amp. And you know what? It's just fine for that. Now, if I was like sitting in front of my gigantic hi-fi and I'm sitting down to do nothing but listen to music and I want to hear every nook and cranny, well then, yeah, I'm Spotify's not going to be quite good enough for
Right.
me. I'm going to want something a little bit better. Maybe I buy the high-res file, or if Tidal was doing it right, I'd go to Tidal for it. But
Well, it's not like
Well-
you're listening through them through an amp that has like reference monitors. I'm sure you're running it through an amp that has a digital signal process of its own, or is coloring somewhat of the sound itself.
Most of the time, I don't, actually.
Yeah.
I listen to, the cleanest signal path I can possibly get. No DSP interference. I'm not touching an EQ. I'm trying to keep it, real clean digital signal goes into an excellent DAC. And
Yeah.
that's
So
what
how
I'm
many
doing.
listeners do that though? I guess that was when you were saying the hi-fi audio for Tidal. I'm an audiophile as well, so I think that some of that might appeal to me, but
Well,
I think it's a pretty low percentage of users that don't listen to it through some sort of digital signal process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's probably the case, and I'm curious what people think too. I know we've got some people viewing on YouTube. Somebody from London and India are tuning in, and let us know what you use for streaming service, or if you're listening via podcast, go ahead and post it on this, or take a look at that title article that's on there. We've been talking already for like 20 some minutes, so I feel like we should get to some of these other topics before we run out of time. And that's
Shoot.
this the big thing going on right now is the Google I/O conference, which is happening, and Google announcing some of the different things that they've come out with. Some of it sounds great. It's typical Google stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys are innovating some things. Some of it seems like it's too much of one thing, and I wanted to bring up like their chat apps. So they've announced, I believe it was like 3 or 4 more at this to bring their total chat apps to 6 different applications that are going to have a lot of overlap when it comes down to it. One of them, the one that I think is the most nerve-wracking, I think we talked about it at the beginning of this show, is Duo. It's an app called Duo, and so it's for basically like a FaceTime video chat. But when you're calling someone, they will get to see your live video before you click answer, before you answer it. So whatever they're doing, you're going to see it if you're using this app, which is why we brought up that it's going to be the next chat roulette. But I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. I don't know if I like that somebody can see what I'm doing before they answer the phone.
But that's happening, right? When you call them, they're like,
They're looking at it before they hang up,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
not
exactly.
hang up. Yeah, but now they're going to actually see the video on it. I don't know. Am I the only one that this bothers? I'm thinking that
I'm not
maybe
bothered.
I am.
I just don't know how useful it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of all the use case scenarios. I'm thinking
Right.
if I get a call from a friend and they're bawling their eyes out, like, oh shit, I really need to
Ignore
answer
it. There you
this.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
that is interesting.
Or if their
That's a
face
good
is
point.
red and they can't hide their anger.
Yeah.
I mean, but it seems, I don't know, it seems like, it's putting
Ooh, it's
the
a
power
print
in.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the person making the call, face will show up to the person receiving the call prior to answering. Right?
Or
Right.
what if you're at the bar, you're clearly drunk, and you're FaceTiming them or duoing them while you're singing Sweet Caroline or whatever. Like,
Can
I'm
you
not answering
duo
that
people
right
at a
now.
bar?
Have fun with that,
Right.
but like,
No, there'll be no duoing at this bar.
The fact
hey,
that
don't duo me.
FaceTiming is the verb.
Clean it up, guys.
You know what is cool about the app is that it enables like a video chat to people who have really crappy internet connections and really slow bandwidth. Like some kind of compression algorithm that they've got going on for this makes it possible for people who normally can't video chat. It makes
Right.
it possible for them to do it. It also puts it all in one platform. So you're not FaceTiming somebody Apple to
Yeah.
Apple. You're not Skyping because then you both have to have the Skype app. You're
Yeah.
enabling. It's another platform. What I don't get is why don't they just slam all this stuff into one app?
And that's the thing. They've got 6 different ones. They've also got another new one called Allo, which we'll talk about that. I guess that's going to
I
integrate
think
into
it's
the.
pronounced hello.
Hello. Everybody was doing that. You're so right. Like when they announced this, everybody was on the Slack channel going, "Hello, puppet." Meow, China. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they.
Hello?
That's racist.
Somehow it is. Somehow I'm gonna have to bleep that. I don't know. Then we've got Hangouts, which they've already had. Spaces, which is supposed to be, I think it's Google Plus now. They're rebranding as Spaces. They're not going to give up on Google Plus or that whole concept, which it's the one area where Google really, they can't compete with Facebook. I don't think they're ever going to get that. You're not going to get what Facebook has done, but they're still trying. So there's Spaces that you can chat on, then regular Messenger, and then Voice, which is another thing that allows users to combine various phones with one phone number for voice calls and SMS/MMS. So two of those do pretty much the same thing, Messenger and Voice, it sounds like. Spaces, Hangouts, Duo, Allo, all of these different apps, and all different ones that you're probably going to have on your phone when you buy an Android phone.
Is Hangouts still around?
Hangouts is still around.
Yeah.
Okay. Hangouts is still there, and that's a video chat already. So now you've got Duo on top of that, which that's doubling up the same thing.
And with Voice, don't you get a phone number though? So like I know that some businesses will have a Google Voice number that's literally like a
just your
Gmail
internet
account.
phone.
Yeah, and that's true. And I've had that. The only thing I ever get on it are spam calls all the time.
Well, you can already forward that through an app to your Android or Google Nexus phone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of a redundant or a rebranding
Right.
of something that they've
Mildly
already done.
Of the
redundant.
same
But same
thing.
with Google Spaces. It's
Yeah.
like you took a pair of Jordache and
Yeah.
sewed a Levi tag on it or something.
Pretty much.
DoorDash, bro.
Whoa, whoa.
Like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Argue
sorry,
with that
guys.
fit
Sorry.
or wash.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I take that back.
I just do they even sell DoorDash anymore? Is that still
Is it?
happening?
You
We
gotta
should
dig.
probably.
You gotta go to the
Well, yeah, we'll
bins.
find this out on the next episode.
Oh.
Somebody should
Find
do-
out where you can
Somebody
get
should do some
DoorDash.
research.
So that's what you had to wear back in the 80s, man.
Did you have some DoorDash?
Esprit.
I never did, but
Yeah.
it seemed like
2-4.
girls were mostly into the DoorDash. The Esprit, Varney,
Gerbodes.
Gerbods.
Gerbod.
body
All
gloves.
this stuff.
I'm
on my
actually
wish
wearing-
list they never got.
Still
I'm
nuts for
actually
Wrangler
wearing body
butts.
glove boxers right now. Did you know body glove was still around?
No.
Is this
I
the
like
part
it
where
when
we
they
take
bring-
off our shirts?
All right.
Finally.
This is the part I think where we bring up porn.
Oh,
So
God.
let's go straight to
Good
the Google,
segue.
the
We have
Google
no
VR news. So they are now going to make it a lot. Basically, have it as part of the new Android N system. Which, by the way, they're letting users or people, the public, name Android N. They're taking submissions for the names for it right now, which they should have
What
learned. That's
N stands for?
what they're going to call that Android, the new update. Because they had like Jelly Bean and Kit Kat.
Kit Kat,
yeah,
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
With
Android,
the inflection.
Android Nene.
yes, I was just going to say that. Good one.
So, but as part of this, they're going to have this new thing called Daydream, which is essentially going to support virtual reality, and they can combine that with the Google Cardboard or whatever other new service. There's actually another one that's come out now that's going to integrate that. And we were talking about this, with VR coming in. I don't know if we should go straight and talk about this what we were bringing up before the show, or if that's going to go too far. But the proliferation of virtual reality and where it's going and how that's going to affect certain entertainment industries. And I don't know, Caleb. Maybe you should just explain this, because let's just go to this, because
You're
it
talking
ties
about
in.
kids shows, right?
I'm talking about kids shows, children's programming. The first-person experience that you get from VR is going to change some industries, and there's people that are worried about this, that it's coming onto so many different platforms.
Yeah, I've run into, ever since VR porn finally came to the masses.
Yeah.
Go on.
We-
Did you
we've
say masses or Athens?
came in. Yes, we got it. Why did you have to set me off?
I had to. I just dished it off to
No,
you.
look, there's a
No,
bunch of
it's-
people who think that VR is going to ruin porn for them,
Yeah.
which is absolutely ridiculous. But their concern is that
Luddites.
we get our
We
getting our
usually get a siren, per
Hey,
show.
Good thing it came during the porn.
Right.
So they're worried that VR is going to destroy porn, because they're thinking, well, now everybody's going to want to make VR porn. They're not going to want to make regular porn. And from a
Yeah.
production standpoint, there is a different process. You use different cameras, and you want that stereoscopic, vision, depth of field kind of thing going on.
Sounds like a pro.
Yeah, I mean, I dabble, but there's no reason that people are going to just abandon, the good old 16:9 monitor,
Right.
flat screen, on your phone, on your on your tablet, your TV, wherever you like to enjoy your porn. You're still going to have that. There's no way that VR is going to destroy porn. The porn industry is bulletproof. Like,
it's the one thing, and it's also the thing that drives so much innovation. I mean, honestly, in tech, it drives innovation, especially in these kinds of fields, because everybody's consuming it.
Wasn't there the same concern with HD though?
Well,
Yeah,
we still
they
have
were like,
porno
Oh, yeah,
mags, right?
right.
There's still
Yeah.
porno magazines.
Are there?
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Analog
Old
porn
school.
still exists, I'm sure.
I think the dude said it best when he said, "I still jerk off manually."
Yeah.
When they were talking about the next that was the joke
Right.
way
Yeah.
back then.
Right.
Yeah.
Was like so whatever. I mean, I think VR is really cool. I think it has some great applications, and for people who enjoy porn, I think it's another cool way to get involved. Maybe. I mean,
Right.
you're kind of definitely by yourself in that situation.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of content does come out with this. The more that's out. Finally, all right. I wanted to bring up this one. Just it goes along with this and takes it even a step further. And it's something that Sony has, I guess, actually has a patent for this, for a smart contact lens that actually has the ability to record video
That's a terrible.
in your with these contacts. I guess it doesn't continuously stream. They said like a car dash cam, and this is an article at digitaltrends.com, but it can recognize different eyelid closure times, so you can blink for a certain period and start recording everything in front of you. That idea is horrifying, but that's really going to come out. We're really going to have that kind of thing, and you're
got
never
there.
going to know. Yeah, we're there. This is, I don't know, I always bring up Black Mirror on here, but
Was
that
it
is
like-
a total Black Mirror thing.
Yeah, is it a heads-up
yeah.
display? Is that the thing that
It's-
why you would want it on your eyeball
Well-
instead of like a pen cam?
Yeah, what are you seeing while
Yeah,
you record?
you
You can see it. I guess some of the things they're talking about are you can have overlays over it, almost like augmented reality. You can have zoom. They're actually, and this is something that could
The
help.
freaking
Ocular
bionic
vision?
man. Yeah.
Yeah, you are
So
the.
it's like
so again,
Google-
this is going back to porn.
Google
This is
Glass
just how
Exactly. It all ties back into porn.
without looking like a dipshit.
Yeah.
some of us.
Yeah.
Look, just take everything that made people upset about Google Glass
Yeah.
and amplify it, except for you won't know if it's happening or
You
not.
won't know if it's happening.
yeah.
I mean, just think about how like piracy concerns. You can literally pirate anything you can look at. Mm-hmm.
There's no audio though. There'd be no
Sure.
No, they probably have a way to get audio on there
Like
too.
run a little wire to your
Yeah.
ear hole.
Just have
little
a little,
I don't
Simpy
know.
time clock on your
Yeah.
headband, syncing everything.
I just can't. I don't understand how they could make that happen on something that would comfortably fit on your eye.
It's all done with lasers.
I'm sure, and
Probably.
lasers and gazers,
Yeah. Well, it's
technological stuff.
yeah, it's pretty incredible, and that actually is something that they have put out the patent, and that's it's something they're going to create.
Wasn't most of what was the complaint of Google Glasses was the actual bulkiness of the glass, right? The weight.
Well, no, I'm
Well-
talking about the people who hated the glass heads as they became
Glass holes.
Glass
Right.
holes
Glass
as
holes.
they became.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that you don't. A lot of people just don't want to be recorded. They don't want. They want to know if you're being recorded. In
Yeah.
the past,
Yeah.
if you came in with a big old camera, and even if you pull out your
Hold
phone,
your phone up.
and you're doing, there's still a physical suggestion that
Swat it down.
you're actually.
Go
you
on,
can-
Joey Ramone.
Yeah, you can take control of the situation. And go, hey, I don't want to be recorded.
Yeah.
You can remove yourself or whatever, but like. There's really no privacy anytime somebody can stealth record you, and I mean it's just people have to go way, way, way out of their way to buy those tiny little spy cams that you get.
Yeah, with
you
the
know,
big
the
hat
spy
on,
store
like-
or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly, you got to go through all this. But if it's as simple as like putting on your Google Glass or putting in your Sony contact lens. I mean that's what worries people. I think is they
Yeah.
don't they want to be they want to have some privacy. They want to know that their life is not necessarily going to be broadcast. They want to opt in to that kind of thing.
But I mean, that's any situation. Like whatever you find yourself in, you could be being recorded, and you're not going to know. Like how they're going to have to start setting up scanners for that kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
the more this
Blockers.
comes.
It's
Yeah.
all about the personal blocker.
EMPs.
Oh yeah.
You need to have that. You need to get like a face mask that has that special, glare coating on it.
Oh, yeah.
like the way it's supposed to.
Digitally alter the.
Like a scanner.
It's a scanner darkly. It's
Yeah.
a Philip K. Dick suit.
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
where we're getting to. All right, I think we've gone all over the board today and into completely different areas. We definitely hit the
win?
porn. Yeah, we won,
Okay.
and
Yeah. Good job, guys.
thank you
Yeah.
guys for coming down too. I mean, this
All
is
right,
great.
thanks for having us.
So real quick plugs, where can people go to find out everything about your products? Like caseofbase.com.
Caseofbase.com. It all starts there.
All right. And Chris?
You can go to greencenturyonline.net.
Awesome. greencenturyonline.net. And thanks everybody for tuning in. So we do this show every week live on YouTube on Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. So you can tune in there. If you're listening via podcast, you can send an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. Thanks to everybody on YouTube who is commenting on there. And we'll be back next week with another episode.